Hey there, good evening, and welcome to Prog Monster. My name is Murph, and I'm the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock, hard rock, heavy metal, and other forms of rock music. So, we are doing our series tonight. Yes, the one that is rock stars that have thrilled us but have since passed on. This is episode 46 from the year 2008, coming up to the end of the decade. So I had a choice between several people to choose from here. The first guy was going to be the first guy no matter what. The second guy I was going to go with, because this is basically a progressive rock channel, I was originally going to go with Richard Wright from Pink Floyd. And probably should have went with him, but I decided that I wanted to do Mitch Mitchell because, well, first of all, he's a drummer, and I like the drummer, and I was a big fan of the Experience. Hence, Mitch Mitchell. The other guy was always going to be John Rutsey. I know that some of you won't know who that is. That's fine. But for me, he's part of the Rush history, and anything to do with Rush is going to go first. That's just the way it is. Okay, so it's John Rutsey and Mitch Mitchell are the two tonight. And, of course, we'll do our honorable mentions after. So, as you probably already know, this usually goes, and this is the way I always do it, which is those who passed first go first. Okay, so in this case, it'll be John Rutsey first. It won't be a long litany of stuff he did, because frankly he didn't do all that much, but he was a major cog in the Rush machine at the beginning, for which if he wasn't, there might not have been an end. So anyways, he was born July 23rd, 1952. It didn't state where, but I assume it was Toronto. He died May the 11th, 2008 in Toronto, of course. He was 55 years of age when he died. His music was hard rock and heavy metal, and he played the drums and was also the percussionist. Although I don't really recall seeing him playing any percussion, but they claim that's what he did. And he was active from 1963 to 74. So basically, he initially was the driving force behind Rush. He insisted on that they practice. He made them present themselves as a professional band, and that's the way he came across them. Now, he was more interested in the likes of Bad Company and was looking towards a glam rock career, since he always wore the clothing that went with that and the hairstyle and the makeup and all that. So whereas the other members were more interested in the progressive stuff of Genesis, Yes, and the like. So anyways, he was initially assigned the lyricist duties. So he was supposed to write the lyrics while Geddy and Alex were writing the music for Rush, which is pretty much the way it is now, but he just was frustrated he couldn't get what he wanted down on paper, so he showed up with no lyrics for the album. So Geddy Lee quickly wrote all the lyrics for all 10 songs. Or I think it was 10 songs on the album. Maybe it was only 9. Anyways, they recorded their first album. They toured, were playing for it. And then after the album was recorded and done, he left the band because of health reasons. He was a diabetic and he was having a hard time with the touring. He later became a bodybuilder, got into weightlifting quite heavily, and apparently did pretty well as an amateur for a while. Alex Lifeson stated that he used to go train with them sometimes too, but by 1990 they were no longer really, he said he hadn't seen them since 1990, so they were kind of a little bit of estranged, I guess. A lot of estranged would appear. So, and you know, the final thing about him is that he died in his sleep of heart failure or heart attack. Probably brought on by his diabetes, I would think. So what do I remember about John Rutsey? Okay, I remember the concert they did at a school in St. Catharines. The name eludes me. I can't think of it right now. And so he was doing the one that was announcing most of, like he was doing the kind of the intros, talking about what they were going to play and who was going to play it, and introducing Alex Lifeson and Geddy Lee as members of the band. So that was pretty much his role. He looked the part of a rock star too, with that what I would call wind-blown hairdo and the drumming part. Anyways, I think that without him pushing on them, they might not have gotten off to the start they did. Sorry. Late night. I don't like these late night ones. They put me to sleep. So anyways, that's my thing about John Rutsey. I think if he had stayed in the band with Rush, if he hadn't had health issues, I don't know what they would have become. Would they become a big band? Would they have not become a big band? Their first album did reasonably well. I think they would have been a very different Rush, though. I don't think you would have seen anything near what they accomplished with Neil Peart, but I think they could have been an interesting band. My guess is, though, that within a few years they probably would have either broken up, or he would have had to leave, or they would have had to move on, because they were just different. Like both Geddy and Alex wanted to move more towards a progressive rock movement, and he didn't want really anything to do with that. He was more interested in the Bad Company type sound. So, you know, that kind of mix doesn't play well if you got two guys that want to go one way and the other guy wants to go the other way. Unfortunately for Rush, they found Neil Peart, and that suited him. And for John, he got out of the music industry because, to be honest with you, it's a hard life in the industry, and if you've got health issues, it ain't going to fly very well. So there you have it, John Rutsey, original drummer for Rush. Now the second guy is also a drummer. No surprises. Mitch Mitchell, of course. So I had choices here. There was 2 or 3 other people that I had considered doing instead of Mitch Mitchell, but in the end I chose Mitch Mitchell for a couple of reasons. 1, he's a drummer. 2, I always liked his drumming style. And 3, I liked the experience much better than anything that the other bands had done at that point. And plus I knew more about him than I did the other guys. Okay, so he was born July the 9th, 1946 in Ealing, England. He died November the 17th, 2008. Age 62 in Portland, Oregon, in the US of A. He was a rock and jazz fusion musician, and he played drums, of course, from 1960 till his death in 2008. He started with he was actually on a kids TV program when he was this teenager, and the show was called Jennings at School, so I assume he was the starring role and played that. He played session work around this time period with bands which included The Who, before they actually went and decided on Keith Moon, so he was filling in, I guess, for their replacement. He did play with Georgie Fame and on their album Sweet Things, but Georgie didn't get along with him because he had a style of hitting all of his cymbals all the time, and Georgie just wanted him to hit the hi-hat and not hit anything else. So they had some conflict there, but he didn't stay very long anyways. He then after that got his big break, which was he tried out for the Experience. He wanted to be the drummer for Jimi Hendrix Experience, so he tried out, and it was a nip and tuck between him and Ainsley Dunbar. Ainsley's a very good drummer too, so it ended up being basically a coin toss, and he won the job. And he actually played on all three of the Experience's albums. During this period of time, he also joined a band, although they weren't officially a band, but they chose the name Dirty Mac. And they did put out a song, and they were planning on tours and stuff like that. But that band included John Lennon and Mitch Mitchell, of course, Eric Clapton, and Keith Richards. So this would have been a huge band if they had performed together. I wonder what that would have been like. They seem like very different musicians, but at any rate, I'm assuming they never got together because of conflicts between the Stones and Experience touring schedules, And I don't know what Eric Clapton was doing at the time. Was he with Cream? He might have been with Cream at that time. I'm not sure. I don't think so, though. And at any rate, so it never came off. It would have been an interesting band to see, though. After Hendrix died, he did help in the production and finishing the production of the 2 studio albums that came out that were released after his death, after his death, and they were The Cry of Love and Rainbow Bridge. So he was the drummer on both. So he was the drummer for the entire Jimi Hendrix Experience. He did play with the band of Gypsies too, but they had their own drummer, and then that drummer left, and they were going to take him back. But of course, as you know, didn't really work out. Yeah, he did. He auditioned to play with Paul McCartney and Wings as well, but lost the job in a coin toss similar to the one that he won over Ainsley Dunbar. He lost to Jeff Bright. And of course, another guy died in his sleep, natural causes. Probably. So what happened is that they were doing kind of a tribute tour with the Experience. And about 5 days after the tour ended, he died in his sleep. So both drummers died in their sleep. So I'm hoping to join them when my time comes. That would be the way to go, I think. Anyways, there you have it. Mitch Mitchell of the Experience. I like Mitch's style. He's kind of a fast-paced kind of drummer. I think he fit this Hendrix Experience very well. I'm not sure. I could see him playing with The Who. He might have been a decent drummer for The Who. I'm not so sure about that last band. When he tried out for Wings, I don't think that would have worked out as well. He tended to be a bit louder of a drummer than maybe Paul McCartney wanted. So, anyways, he was a good drummer. Eventually, he took on double basses as well, but he started out basically as a real pounder. So he might have fit in with Led Zeppelin even, but I don't think Zeppelin had considered him, although I don't know. A lot of these people are considered by everybody at some point. So he played, after the Hendrix thing, he played pretty much with different people all the way up until he retired. Well, he didn't actually retired, he died. So he was only 62 as well. So there you have it. John Rutsey of Rush. And Mitch Mitchell of the Jimi Hendrix Experience. 2 very good drummers with very, very big impacts, more impact in my life than probably the other people that I would have chosen to do. That's probably the main reason I chose them. I like the experience. I got all 3 albums. They're fantastic. So now I'm going to do the honorable mentions. I don't want to forget them. So we have a few honorable mentions. This is a pretty notable year for really well-known people to pass on. I will, however, require my glasses, because when I write this with my glasses on, and then of course I write it smalls, and then I can't see it, right? So we have Rod Allen from the Fortunes. He died. Scott Halpin. Scott Halpin was one of the guys I thought about, but he wasn't around long enough for me to really know. He was the drummer who played for the Who when Keith Moon passed out on the stage that time. He came on and played 3 numbers with the Who. So he gets an honorable mention there. Buddy Miles, of course. Robert Ward of the Ohio Players. Jeff Healey. Yeah, young Jeff Healey, too. Daniel McMaster of Bonham. Brian Davison of the Nice. Danny Federice, of Springsteen's E Street Band. Mickey Waller of the Jeff Beck Group and Steam Packet. Bo Diddley. Mel Galley of Whitesnake and Trapeze as well. Perverse Jackson of the Spinners. Richard Wright, of course, of Pink Floyd. That was the other major guy I had to consider. Cherry Smith of the Wailers. Frankie Kerr of Teenage Head. He was a guy I considered as well, because I actually saw Teenage Head a couple times live. They're pretty rockin' band. And Jimmy Carl Black of the Mothers of Invention. So there you go. There's my honorable mentions on this episode, number 46, 2008, of rock greats who thrilled us but have since passed on. So we'll be doing episode 47 will come out Thursday morning. This one will come out tomorrow morning. And what's coming up. Okay, so tomorrow night's your favorites, and I'm going to take on a suggested or a requested top 10. So I'm going to do the top 10 my top 10 favorite songs of members of the rock band Genesis that were solo stuff. This won't include Peter Gabriel, because if it did, then there would be only Peter Gabriel, because all 10 of his songs would be better than any of the ones that I would choose from the other bands. Well, maybe that's not entirely true. Maybe they might get a couple in there, but I doubt it. So and then Friday night we'll be doing Peter Gabriel Plays Live. So it's kind of a Genesis Peter Gabriel week, more Gabriel, but so there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Pretty interesting episode, I thought. One that I enjoyed doing because of my like for the two individuals. Some of the episodes I've done, I'm going on reputation or importance to rock or all kinds of different scenarios, but this one was more of a feel for my own personal feelings about it. Okay, so we'll be doing another one on Thursday morning. So I hope you like this one. So please like, subscribe, and have a good evening. Prog Monster out.